Okay, 10 seconds in, we're going to get started for the night. It's going to be a fairly short stream, I'm thinking, but we will be painting a little plaque I picked up from the dollar store, and I've drawn on it it'll look better when I switch over to the camera. So let's go ahead and do that. There we go. Okay. So I drew the details of the unicorn on already. And we're just going to paint over them. And tonight it's not going to be much. We're not doing a ton. I just want to get in the lines. That we're going to use as guidelines when we are working on this in the future. The brushes are some, I wouldn't say they're fancy, but they're a little bit nicer brushes that I got at Ross, go figure. I like to wander around the crafting areas, or the areas that have the craft supplies at Ross, and Tuesday morning, see what they have available. Sometimes, like this time, I find some pretty nice items at a decent price. A friend of mine that grew up around horses was kind enough to help me with what details I should focus on to make a reasonable horse-ish face. Doesn't have to be perfect, thankfully, but I do want it to look nice. So I'm getting a promotion at my job, which is nice. I just found that out on Wednesday night. I think I might have mentioned it in the Thursday gaming stream. It's not really a surprise. Like, my team lead had been wanting to promote me pretty much since I came back to the job, because he remembers me from before. He just hadn't been able to ask me if I was willing to be promoted because he's been so busy putting out fires, which is what happens when you're a manager. You don't get to do a lot of the hands-on stuff because you're too busy trying to fix things for other people. And he wants to promote me so I can take some of that off of his shoulders, and he can maybe for a bit focus on more of the manager stuff he's been having to neglect because he's been so busy with the other stuff. I'm going to rinse this brush. Now, I will say the stream tonight is going to be fairly short. I don't think this brush will ever be purple again. Oh well. I do not recommend that you clean your brushes on your shirt, but I've done that for years. So, okay. Do as I say, not as I do, I guess. I don't know. About to mix some water direct into this acrylic paint because it is very gloopy. Which is fine, I guess, just not really what I was wanting it to be. Like, it is very gloopy. Okay. But up says my Discord, which has not stopped blooping at me all day. Apparently, an update went through recently that turned my notification sounds back on, despite me not wanting them. And now, Discord won't freaking shut up. It's annoying. If I wanted my Discord to make noises at me, I would, have it set to do so. Not have it automatically default to doing so, whether I want it to or not. Sure, y'all love watching the back of my hand as I paint in these details. We'll be looking at more houses tomorrow. Which, I mean, we really do wish that we had gotten that one that we were so excited about, but it's a numbers game and we don't exactly have the numbers on our side, given that we're not rich and never have been. And let's face it, I probably never will be. I'm okay with that, because as long as needs get met for me and my family, you know? But it does make it a bit of a hassle to try and buy a house when every house that meets our needs is either out of our budget or somebody else outbids us on it. But hey, I'm better off than a lot of people right now because I've got a roof over my head and don't have to worry that I'm losing it even with selling the house, you know? But I know we're all tired of going and looking at houses and seeing houses and going, oh, I want that one. And then either it turned out to not actually be a good house, because we've had quite a few where they look great on paper, then we get there and, oh, look, it's missing part of the roof. Or, wow, this house has massive amounts of water damage. Or all these different things that you'd think they would have to put in the realty information, but they apparently don't. They only have to put it in the actual paperwork when you sell. Like the house that was missing part of the roof, if that had been in the paperwork on we're looking to sell this house, we wouldn't have even gone to see it. You know, because a roof's kind of an important part of a house. Just saying. But they didn't mention it. And so everything in the pictures was beautiful. And it was big enough. And we were really excited. And then we got out there and, oh look, it's missing a portion of the roof. And the basement that it bragged about was an excellent storm shelter has standing water in it. because it's not properly insulated, and you know, just the little things that kind of are important. We've still got one house that we've been considering a backup because we really don't want it. Nothing wrong with the house itself, but it's way out. And if we take it, the boys won't be able to go to the same school, which we've been really trying to ensure they can, you know. And yeah, I know teenagers they adjust, they grow. They'll be fine if we can't, but I remember being that age and having to move. Having to leave behind all the friends I'd made, finally, after years of not making friends. It sucked. And I really do try as hard as I can to give the boys a better shake in life than what I got. And I don't blame my parents for doing it. I mean, it was a really great opportunity. My dad would be getting paid a heck of a lot more than he'd been making as a teacher. He wouldn't have to drive 45 minutes each way to get to work. But at 14, I didn't understand that. I just knew I'd spent most of my life in one house, and suddenly we weren't going to live there anymore. And that I had finally started making friends after years of being mercilessly bullied. And suddenly wasn't going to be able to see him anymore. So it was rough, but like I said, it was a great opportunity for my family to finally start making decent money and not having to struggle like we'd been doing while my dad was a teacher. Because believe me, in Oklahoma, they don't pay teachers that well. They never have, and they probably never will. Either way, I remember what it was like to be that age, and I remember what it was like to move at that age, and if there's a way we can keep them where they can go to the same school, still be around their friends, things like that, then that's what I'd like to do. But if we can't find something that's going to be big enough for our family in town, then yeah, we'll have to move out to flipping Verdigris. Or possibly Sapulpa. Something like that. just don't want to. But one does what they have to sometimes. I'm probably going to paint over a lot of this black. To cover up a lot of the bleeding from it. Hopefully, the other colors will mostly cover it and I'll just have a faint line from it. Which will mostly be there to give definition to the mane. Still, not bad. I'm not going to touch the horn yet, because I've got something special planned there. Okay, let me clean this brush up. I've got actually a little thing that makes it easier to clean these brushes. It's technically meant for makeup brushes, but paintbrushes work good with it too. However, due to all of the packing and sorting and shuffling, I don't know where it is right now. This is just gonna get cleaned with water and my shirt, and when I'm done I'll probably clean it a bit better, but okay, now we're going to switch colors. Actually, first we're going to shape that a bit. This one shouldn't be too gummy because if you notice, that cap's never been removed. This is okay, it's a little gummy, but that's because these always are when I first open them. Let go. Where do I want to start? Let's start on these ears. And I don't want to paint over the black, so I want to kind of paint against it, but not covering it. I had quite the adventure earlier today, too. I decided at 1 in the morning, after having really struggled to eat for most of the week, that I really wanted a hamburger. And not just any hamburger, no, I really wanted a hamburger from Whataburger, which is one of the little bit more expensive, but better quality places here in town. And I'm sure there's, well, I know there's other Whataburgers out there. I know I've seen them in Texas too. But they kind of advertise themselves as the good old boys type of burger place, you know. Which is funny because half the time they offer things that are like avocado bacon burger. You'd think a place that tries to woo a clientele of manly men with their ads about hunting and stuff would want to stay as far as they could away from avocados, since of course that's constantly being disparaged as a sissy food here or something along those lines. The words on the radio is not mine. I don't use the word sissy, but still. But the problem is, Whataburger is one of the few 24-hour places to get food here in town. Because even McDonald's isn't 24-hour here anymore. So anyway, I loaded myself up in the van and took off for Whataburger, thinking I could have a nice hot burger and fries in a fairly short amount of time. But because it is one of the few 24-hour places, it is also very, very busy the later in the night it gets. And so I get there, and there's a very long line at the drive-thru, which is fine. I'm used to that. What I wasn't used to was the people in the line taking 10 minutes for one car to order their food. Especially when the line was as backed up as it was. That was new and different, and I did not appreciate. So I wait for those cars to get the car that took so long to get through, thinking, okay, just somebody who is indecisive. Once they move, the line will get to going and everything will be fine. Oh, what a fool I was. I don't know if it turns out that it was a very slow order taker or something. I know that they weren't waiting for the car in front of them to pull up so they could pull away from the order board, because there was no car in front of them in the lane. Normally that's what takes it so long there, is people are waiting for the car ahead of them to move. But nope, not this time. It just... They sat there for 10 flipping minutes. And then the car after them took like 5 or 10. At which point, I finally went, screw this. I'm spending more in gas than I would be spending to drive to a different Whataburger in town. So I pulled out of the line, drove to the other Whataburger, only to find them even more backed up. So I went, well, okay, I'll go to Jack in the Box. Do you know Jack in the Box isn't 24/7 like they used to be? I pulled up and they announced, we're closed for the night. Ah, okay then, thanks for letting me know instead of leaving me sitting at your kiosk forever. I've had businesses do that to me. So, okay, I went to the gas station. I'm like, fine, they have burgers that I can just take home, toss in the microwave, and I can get a burger that way. They were out of them. Okay then. So I swing back by the Whataburger that I had initially tried, and I see that there are people in line that were in line when I was there before. So obviously things had not sped up. Which leads me to think it was probably like a newer order taker or something like that who was struggling. Which is fine. I'm okay with that, but I didn't want to sit and wait for however long it would have ended up taking me when I just wanted a burger and to get home so I could eat said burger. So I decided, okay, there's a couple other places I can try. I finally found one of the few McDonald's in town that still it was open at, by this point, 2 a.m. And I ended up getting a Big Mac and fries, and I asked, hey, if they had the Shamrock Shake, and they go, we do. I'm like, great, let me get one of those. And I pull up to the window, and the manager, I paid by that point with the upcharge for the Shamrock Shake instead of a soda, of course. And I pull up the window, and the manager at the is waiting for me at the window, and he says, we're out of Shamrock Shakes. I'm kind of like, then why did the guy at the other window tell me y'all had them? But I didn't say that. And he's like, you want a mocha frap? And I'm like, I don't drink coffee. And he's like, you want your money back? And I'm like, yeah, I think that's best. So I came home with no drink. Did at least get the burger, though, so there's that. And the fries. So it ended on, I guess, a good note. Just not quite the note that I'd wanted it to, but it's fine. If you ever hear me say I went on an adventure, that's the kind of things I call an adventure. So feel free to realize that I'm just kind of a dork. Who calls things adventures when it's just, I went to McDonald's. Sorry, I've got this tilted so y'all can't really see the paint going on. Though the trip to Biloxi was certainly a adventure, and I think that counts even in the more traditional sense of the word, not the I'm a dork and I call things adventures that really I shouldn't. Oh, goody. My shirt's covered in even more paint. And my brush is covered in cat hair. We're washing this. These little yogurt pots, by the way, are excellent paint pots. Or, well, I guess not paint itself, but, you know, washing pots. I am very unlikely to accidentally drink paint water if I'm using one of these. Though I suppose if I left it long enough, there is potential I could mistake it for yogurt. Though I think I'm a little smarter than that. Though that is up for debate. This is going to need a proper washing when I finish up, because every time I do this and drag, well, you can't see it, but every time I drag the brush up, I end up with more white coming out of it. Okay. Good enough for now. Kind of going over this a few times to make that white brighter, because I'm noticing a lot of the paint is just kind of soaking into the wood. And instead of ending up with white, I'm ending up with faintly tan or brown. I don't know. Looking at the camera, I can see a difference. It's just a very slight one. Looking at it in person, it's a bigger difference, but kind of wish I'd thought to sand this thing before I drew on it, but you know. Anyhow, I think it's going to be cute when I'm done. And isn't that always my goal, is to make something cute? Okay, I might have a different definition of what counts as cute. I thought the Bone Fairy was really cute, too. Others have told me that's not cute, that's just creepy. You know. To each their own, right? Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go a bit heavy with the paint to really get that bright white I'm looking for, which is fine. Just means it takes a little bit longer to dry is all. I think once I finish doing the white on this first pass tonight, I'll probably call it for the stream for tonight. That'll give it most of a week to dry. Might go back and touch up the white and the black as needed, but we can get to the other parts next week on the stream. Still, I think it's coming along pretty good so far. Actually, you can see the color difference a bit more with what I've just done. I don't know what makes the difference of it being at this angle versus the other, but hey. Horses, by the way, have ridiculously fat lips. Just immensely fat lips. If all goes well, I don't have to do too much touching up during the week, if I even have time to do touching up during the week. Then next week's stream we can start adding colors. I intend for the mane to be rainbow, just a bunch of different colors on it. Then the inner ears, of course, I want to do pink-ish. Nostril is gonna be either pink or black. I haven't decided. Most horses, their nostrils are black, but this is a unicorn, so why would it be held to that standard? Very carefully dot that inner eyelid. There, the eye shine is now dotted. Okay. Mostly at this point I'm just dabbing on an additional layer of the white in areas where the wood is more visible through. That's why you're seeing me doing this little pat-pat motion instead of proper strokes of the brush. But yeah, it looks actually better than I anticipated. So cool. Of course, as the person doing it, I'm going to see nothing but the flaws, but you know. Kind of a curse of being a creative. The big thing is you can't let that particular curse stop you from creating it all. Because it will if you let it. Alright, so almost an hour. I had not thought it would take even this long. So I'm very pleased with how it's turning out so far. Like I said, next week we will see about adding colors to it. But I hope that everyone likes what we've done so far. And I hope to see everybody next week to continue work on it. Hopefully at a somewhat more convenient time than the middle of the night. There's paint on my little desk because I dropped that brush. I mean, there's paint all over my shirt too, but you know. That said, hope everyone had a great night tonight. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Thank you so much for your patronage, your friendship. I do want everyone to take care of themselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you Saturday for the gaming stream. Next time.